I mean, this is just going to be so much fun. Obviously, an endurance race is going to be a completely different kettle of fish for a lot of these drivers. They've maybe cut their teeth into sprint racing. So, you know, the idea of endurance and sprint racing, very, very different sort of things. I guess they are only racing for the 90 minutes. And, you know, it's not exactly like it's a 12-hour race or a 24-hour race that we see them racing all throughout the rest of the country. As I said, this is where yours truly first ever got behind the wheel of a racing car at Silverstone a couple of years ago for the 24 hours of Silverstone. So I've always got a soft spot in my heart, not just for these cars, but for endurance racing in general. It's just so much fun. It's so much more relaxing and so much more enjoyable than for me than, say, like a 10-lap race or something like that, because of you can settle down, you can get into a rhythm, and you can really, really have some good driving stints. That's what it's about. It's about consistency and being able to, you know, consistently crank out these really, really good lap times. So, as we said, 90 minutes. Now, again, what we're going to have to watch out here for is for pit stops. Now, from experience, we had to pit about every hour, basically just after every hour. 35-litre fuel tank in these Citroen C1s. They aren't modified in any way whatsoever. It's a control suspension that goes on it, control wheels and control tyres. But other than that, every single part of that car is stock. The only thing that's in it is a roll bar, and it's had the seats ripped out of it. It's still got the original dash. It's still got the radio. And you know why we know that is because the amount of onboards that we've seen, and you watch and you listen to the drivers listening to commentary from here at Knockhill 87.7 FM, listening to commentary of themselves racing. It is a bizarre situation. I remember actually, I think it was, I'm trying to think, it was at Capital FM that I was listening to when I was doing the Silverstone 24 all the way around here.
Have a grid when you're ready.
So without further ado then, let's go and have a look at the grid then for our first ever 90-minute C1 endurance race here at Knockhill Racing Circuit. Kyle Nisbet takes pole position from Thomas Comber in second place. Then in third place, you've got the combination of Smith and Brunton. Sam Corson in fourth position with Ross Dunn and Main in fifth position as well. Mark Nisbet is in sixth position. Callum Conway lines up in seventh with Lazou Benet in eighth position as well. Henry Gillespie is in ninth position. Aidan Wilson, no stranger to the old SMRC Esports, is in 10th position, making his debut this season. Hitchin and Kell line up in P11 on row 6 with Proctor and McLeod in 12th position as well. And then Paul Winfield in 13th position with Rich and Flett, who we were talking about earlier on, are down in 14th position.
I have championship points as well.
Championship points obviously going to be massively affected by this race here today. So let's have a look at them as well. Now this is much, much tighter, as you can imagine, because the racing here with the C1's incredibly, incredibly tight. Sam Corson ahead by 4 points ahead of Finlay Brunton. Ross Dunn is in third place with 64 points. Thomas Comer in fourth position. Callum Conway and Kyle Nisbet in fifth and sixth position. Paul Winfield in seventh position. Andrew Davidson in eighth position. Mark Nisbet in ninth, and James Hitchin in 12th position as well. And so there we go. And well, looking very much forward to this one. Very, very excited. The green flag is waved as the cars make their way around. Now, what I believe, again, we've not had a briefing from the SMRC on this one. I would imagine this is going to be a rolling start for the C1. Certainly, every other endurance race that I've seen has started with a rolling start. But again, we will clarify that in just a couple of moments' time. You and me are both going to be watching this all unfold for the first time ever. And yeah, very, very excited to see this. Thoroughly jealous, as I've mentioned numerous times during the day. Wish it was myself that was actually behind the wheel of this. The C1s, the closest I've actually got to driving one round Knockhill is the identical Peugeot 107. I did a track day here in that one, and they may be slow. They are very, very slow. There's no getting away from that, but they are wild little things to have fun with, because you can just throw them in and they just keep asking for more. And once you get them to above 4,500, 5,000 RPM, that's when the enjoyment factor kicks in, because the engine actually gives it some between those power band ranges. Outside of that, it's a very, very frustrating experience. And what we actually found is there's two different gearboxes in the Citroen C1 in the age range that is allowed into this, and both gearboxes are allowed. However, it was very quickly discovered that you do not want to run the second type of gearbox, so it's going to be a standing start for this race then. You do not want to sit the other type of gearbox, because one is much longer than the other one, which means that you've got absolutely no acceleration, but it was much better for fuel economy. When you factor in the fact that these are not race cars, these are city cars that were designed to go and do your daily, weekly needs, and folk decided that it would be a fun idea to put a roll cage in and some nice race tyres on them, and my goodness me, am I ever grateful that they decided that was a good idea. To be fair, that's the sort of idea that I would come up in the pub with on a Friday night, thinking, oh yeah, let's race these cars. Although, to be fair, I was pestering the SMRC about doing a car championship or a street car championship. That would be, I think there's a demand out there. I still swear there is, but we'll have to wait and see whether or not there is. But the cars lining up on the grid then as we get ready to go live for 90 minutes of racing here. Green flag flies from the back, and we're about to make history today, ladies and gentlemen. Very, very proud to be part of it. It's going to be Kyle Nisbet at the front with Thomas Comer for the first lap of 90 minutes here at Knockhill. So the siren goes off. You can see the pictures here. The cars lined up then for 90 minutes here. Of course, one mandatory pit stop. We'll tell you more about that as we get going on. Let's go racing for our first ever SMRC endurance race with the Citroen C1s. It's going to be a nice leisurely start because, of course, the cars don't exactly have the biggest of horsepower, just what's that, 68 brake horsepower I think these little things have got, but nonetheless a very enjoyable experience. Nonetheless, Kyle Nisbet gets off to a great start, and Thomas Comer has been sent backwards as the number 68 there of Sam Corson gets into P2, and we're not even halfway through the first lap already. So Sam Corson straight up into second position. And then we've got cars going left, right and centre. In fact, that's Thomas Comer, who is going backwards at a rate of knots. I wonder if there's a problem already with that car, as he is definitely struggling. Thankfully, the conditions have changed completely, and it does look like we've got pretty much a dry track for these cars. Kyle Nisbet still in the lead then as we come already to complete our first lap here. And you can see the rest of the field then making their way through McIntyre's then for this first lap here. It's all very calm, orderly. It's like chalk and cheese compared to what we just saw with the minis. It's all going to be about consistency. It's all going to be about hitting your marks every single time you can. Kyle Nisbet leads from Sam Corson, from Ryan Smith, from Mark Nisbet, And then it is Callum Conway, Ross Dunn, and you can see a move up the inside. Is that the 23? That's Thomas Comer trying to take a position back from the 77 there, and gets that job done. So Lizu Benet loses that position out to the 23 there. And, well, this is shaping up certainly to be a very, very intriguing affair here as we watch the cars coming through into to Clark Corner then. Also, with the fact that Kyle Nisbet opening up a little bit of a gap there. Not as much as we'd like to think, though, because Sam Corson actually starting to close in on that car in front here as they come down the little hill here. The other thing that's going to be a big factor that I don't think a lot of these drivers have maybe factored in is tyre wear and also brake wear. Tyre wear isn't really going to be a thing at all, actually, but brake wear might be an issue. So if they've, you can do several races on these cars with the control brake pads that they have in here, but the brake pads heat up very, very quickly, and I think we were getting about maybe 6 to 7 hours out of our brake pads at the 24 before having to change them out. So again, we'll have to keep an eye on that one here. But have a look at Finlay Brunton. So if it's Ryan Smith and Finlay Brunton in that number 13 car. They're right on the back end of Sam Corson here. This could be a move. Again, it's the momentum that's so important here. If they don't, they're going to get held up, and that actually allows Martin Nisbet to catch up to the back of this group as well here. As you see, Sam Corson getting a little bit of breathing space here. Fascinating to watch how the different parts of the track favour the cars in different ways already, but despite it being a relatively calm and tidy start to the race here, the thing is that this race will change massively over the next 15 to 20 minutes, because after 20 minutes we're going to be through the looking glass, through into a world that some of these drivers have never experienced before. Sprint races here at Knockhill normally take the guise of maybe a 10 to 12 lap race here, so they'll normally last about maybe say 15 minutes or so. So to have these drivers in the car for longer than that, unless they've specifically done endurance racing, it's going to be a very, very different feeling, as that was a move, or at least an attempt at a move there from Thomas Comer there on the number 1 of Ross Dunn and Colin Main. Couldn't quite make that stick, but you see a move further down there, the 822, and that was Paul Winfield getting that move done on Rich Flett. And again, you're seeing the way that the drivers can kind of behave themselves when they're in these packs. There's no punching, there's no hitting or anything like that. It's a world away from the Mini Coopers and some of the other classes that we have here, but no less exciting whatsoever, as we see Dunn up the inside there, still trying to hold on that position from Thomas Comer. Across the line then, and already we've clocked off 5 minutes of this race here. I tell you what, despite having low power here, they certainly sound the part, because all you hear is the cars are so quiet in general. The exhaust, the modified exhaust that they've got as part of the control package on these cars sounds fabulous on the car itself, but you still don't hear much of them. All you hear is tyre squeals as they come around the corner. But this is the battle for second place then. It's safe to say that Kyle Nisbet is in the lead handsomely by just over 2 seconds right now, but Sam Corson having to do a lot of work here right now. He's just ahead of the likes of Ryan Smith in that number 13 car, and Finlay Brunton sharing that car with them. Mark Nisbet in that 4th position as well. Really fancies getting involved in this battle here, but again, it's just a case of when you make that move. And have a look at Callum Conway. Now, that's a car that we hadn't seen previously in the opening couple of laps. Callum Conway actually catching up to this group here, onto the back of them, and potentially going to be trying to make this a four-way battle, excuse me, for second place. So there we go. The car's making their way down through the back stretch here. There is your race leader, actually, Kyle Nisbet. And Sam Corson now. Let's have a look here. The rumblings here in the production suite are that that gap is coming down here. I don't think they are. I think Sam Corson. Look, Sam is fighting for his life right now. He is getting hunted from that 13 behind him. There's no two ways about that. But it's just not. It's not conducive to actually bringing that gap down just now as the leaders come under the Beatson's build and supply bridge then. And I've got to be honest, I mean, this is a fairly calm and sedate start to the start of this race here. Great little bit of action there. That was the 529 of Dan Kell and Henry Gillespie that were fighting it out there. Lanya Benet. So that's where that name is familiar. Lanya Benet in the YouTube chat is family with Lazou Benet in number 77, currently in P8 just now. My brother will win. Watch Lazou Benet, car 77. Right, well, you heard it here first, folks. I mean, it's going to be a hell of a job to get from 8th position, 10 seconds back, but I'm taking it as gospel. We've heard it, so it's great to see that. And this is the other thing about the live stream as well, is the fact that everybody can enjoy it. You know, even folk that are here at Knockhill, obviously writing on that they're watching it as well. But friends and family all around the country, all around the world, you can share the link with. And yeah, great to see that everybody can get involved in that. I know that. I might have had some viewers in from South Africa, might have been watching earlier on during the day as well. So it's fantastic for the drivers and for their own purposes in terms of like marketing and branding themselves as well, that they can show to a sponsor and say, yeah, look, we're able to stream out live. You're going to be able to see this all across the globe here. And that was that was a big part of what I was doing after I left Knockhill here. And you know how important the drivers are able to brand and market themselves as, my goodness me, that 13 absolutely sending it round the corner there. They're actually losing a little bit of time there. But again, you know, this is such a big thing for not just for the SMRC, but for all the drivers and teams involved as well. It's that other step up that brings them that level of that competitiveness and attention that they really have been clamouring for the past couple of years. So it's a big deal for them as we see the 68 of Sam Corson still just ahead of that 13 of Ryan Smith and Finlay Brunton. But that gap still at 2 seconds, so it's not going anywhere. It's not going down, and that's normally what would happen when you see cars fighting with each other. The car in front usually gets to go off scot-free. Now, remember, we've got a couple of variables to throw into the mix today. Firstly, it's a voyage of discovery. A lot of these drivers, and that was a mistake there from Kyle Nisbet. You just saw the tail end of that car going very wide into Clark there. I don't know if he lost a lot of time there. But yeah, certainly would have lost a little bit of momentum, and that's not going to have helped the tyres whatsoever. And obviously conditions still a little bit tricky out there. I'm just looking out the back of the commentary box, and it looks to be blue skies and clear just now. But yeah, that was a bit of a sketchy moment there for Kyle Nisbet, and I do think actually that gap has come down very slightly. It was 2 seconds. It's now down to let's have a look as they come across the line. Well, only slightly, 1.9 seconds. So it's come down by a tenth, but it looks like it was a lot closer as well. Sam Corson is still, as we said, in that second place. But I was watching Thomas Comer there, just coming through the hairpin here, as we're watching the number 88 of Henry Gillespie, Dan Kell and Lazou Benet. And great to see that, because obviously we've got We've got Lanya Binet watching as well, and there's a little bit of attention for the number 77. We've got the Lewis McLeod watching us on live chat, the world famous Le Mans virtual commentator Lewis McLeod. A very good afternoon to you, sir. You can indeed get live timing if you head to race-monitor.com, or you can head to smart-timing.co.uk, and you can get all the live timing and results there. You can take your pick from all of that. As it stands though, we are only 10 minutes into this 90-minute endurance race. It's still Kyle Nisbet in the lead of this race ahead of Sam Corson. Ryan Smith in the 13 is in third position as the cars make their way coming up through the hill. That is the battle for 8th, 9th and 10th position. That's Henry Gillespie in the 88. That's Dan Kell in the 529 and Lazu Benet in the in the number 77. So as I said, another driver that we have been watching out for is that 529, Dan Kell, and his teammate that are out there today. They've been making some fairly decent inroads right now into this race. Of course, guests into the race for today. And of course, he's going to be sharing that car, as I said, with Henry Gillespie. Dan Kell, more accustomed to racing the Sierras that he races with his dad, Steve Kell, down in the Northern Sports and Saloon Car Championship throughout the rest of the UK. So just a little bit of a difference in performance. I'm sure that Dan, as the consummate professional, he'll be able to keep up with the exceptional straight line speed of the Citroen C1, but it's all about the fun. What these cars lack for in a straight line is a move up the inside from Sam Corson. And while I was chatting away there, I haven't seen the fact that all hell is broken loose here. What on earth has happened to this race? Kyle Nisbet's gap has gone down to 1.3 seconds, but never mind that, because Ryan Smith and Finlay Brunton have been unleashed. I tell you what, if this is going to be a 90-minute race like this, I'm going to be dead by the end of it just from hyperventilating. Goodness me, Sam Corson now is under real sorts of pressure from Mark Nisbet. Mark Nisbet tries to go up the inside at the chicane. He's going to have that position done. Sam Corson slides it in. And I tell you what, these might not be, they may not be Fiesta STs. They may not be Mini Coopers. They may not have the best straight line speed. But when you can power that car into a corner like that and keep your foot absolutely pinned, which I've got no doubt these cars were, when you can keep your foot pinned down like that, yeah, you're having the time of your life. These are wicked, wicked fun. Also, a big shout out to John Higgins in the YouTube chat. I've not heard that name for many a year since the SMRC Esports Championship, and that was a bit of a lunge up the inside there. I'm surprised to see there's no panels being rearranged on that 460 of John Proctor there, because that was a car coming flying up the inside there. But John Higgins saying that Ian Wilson's going to be doing a mega job today to get that car back out after rolling the car in testing. Wow. Wow. You see, I look away for a moment, and there you go, like candy from a baby. Kyle Nisbet's day is done. Goodness me, that one, oh sorry, that was Martin Nisbet. That was the 117, not the 17. So Martin Nisbet loses out on that third place there and drops even further back. Here is Sam Corson now, still somehow ahead of the 117, and this is what happens when you pay attention to YouTube chat. So here is your race leader now being hunted by the combination of Ryan Smith and Finlay Brunton. You can see around the outside is trying to go is trying to go Mark Nisbet. It's not going to happen though. Sam Corson holding that car off, and again to be 15 minutes into the race here. This is mega action. This is all we're going to have for the entirety of the race here. Oh, and that is a wobbly moment there from Kyle Nisbet. You just saw the oversteer. The car touched the grass that was starting to dry on the outside of the corner there, and you saw for a moment that car was pitched to the left-hand side there. Amazing car control there from Kyle Nisbet to hold on to that to make sure that it didn't go any worse than it already was, and keep that car in one piece. Sam Corson though, I mean, I'm almost lost for words with how much pressure is being applied to that tiny little C1. His car is getting crushed right now from Mark Nisbet. The pressure that is going on is absolutely unreal just now. So as we hit 15 minutes, coming up for 20 minutes, it's Kyle Nisbet in the lead with the number 17. That is going to be trying to go round the outside again is Mark Nisbet. It's not going to happen. We've seen that time and time again. So Kyle Nisbet in the lead of the race. It's Ryan Smith and Finlay Brunton in second place. Sam Corson in third position. Mark Nisbet in fourth position here, fighting with Sam Corson side by side, bless them. Fifth place for Callum Conway. Ross Don in sixth position, Thomas Comer in seventh, Dan Kell in eighth, ninth place for Henry Gillespie, 10th place for Lazou Benet, Paul Winfield in 11th, Rich Flett in 12th position, and Aidan Wilson in 13th position. So in being shown as being a lap down right now, and well, it's a little bit of bated breath here because there's only so much that these cars are going to be able to hold up to this pace right now. It is ridiculous pace that they've got, to be quite honest with you. 111, the lap record I think is a 109, and they normally do like high 110. So you consider that these cars are being pushed to the absolute edge every single lap. And have a look at this battle for third position then, as Sam Corson still having a fight. Mark Nisbet round the outside again. He can't quite do it. This is bringing Callum Conway back into the mix. There we go then. Just again, it's fascinating to watch how these cars just have to, because of the lack of power, you have to line up your moves almost 5, 6, 7 corners in advance, because it takes you so long to get the slipstream, and it takes you so long to actually get the momentum to go alongside here, and you can catch up, and then as soon as you put a foot wrong, you're going to go backwards very, very quickly indeed. But Sam Corson here doing everything that he possibly can to keep in front of that 117 and Mark Nisbet, but this might be it though. Nisbet having a really good run through Duffus Step up through the hill, and gets the toe, but again it's not quite enough. He can't make that happen. Meanwhile, the 13 closing right back in on the tail end of your leader there, and Nisbet coming under some big pressure. A little bit of wheels onto the gravel on the outside there, but again with an hour and 10 minutes left to go here, it's just trying to see how this is all going to pan out. We've already got a lap down to what looks like 12th position already. Rich Flett, I believe, has already gone a lap down, and that's a big moment. What, as a commentator, realistically, what more can I possibly add on top of what you just saw there? The 117 there of Mark Nisbet having to fight, and I mean literally fight this car to hold on to it. He's thrown it down. Right, so what's happened here? Those tyres are goosed now. Those tyres are way too hot. They're way too slidey. And it feels amazing. It feels so much fun. You feel like Tom Cruise in Days of Thunder when you're powering round the corners like that. But it does nothing for your time. It slows you down because your tyres are overworked. But look at this. That's a look up the inside. That is a note of intent there from the number 13 car in second place. Your days are numbered. That's what they're saying to number 17 of Kyle Nisbet right now. And I hear a huge power slide, and that can only be Sam Corson. But look at that, that's a much better exit from the corner than I thought. Look at the straight line speed of the 13. And this is a fascinating little quirk of the C1s as well that these drivers wouldn't have been thinking about. Onto the grass, onto the gravel, and that is how you lose the lead of the race. All that applied pressure from the 13. And knowing Kyle Nisbet the way that I do, I get a worry that he's going to overdrive this car trying to get that position back. He's going to be furious that he's lost the lead. But realistically, I mean, that lead has been coming down and down and down. You know, Ryan Smith and Finlay Brunton, they are no strangers to this championship. They know exactly how and when to place that car. But the interesting thing is, you know, as I said, these drivers haven't had to drive the car more than 15-20 minutes in a race, and certainly for the SMRC. So heat soak is a major thing for these cars, and I found that when racing in the City Car Cup down south, which is where they take the C1s and the Peugeot 107s and the Toyota Aigos, which are identical cars. They're the same chassis underneath, just different fascias and stuff on them, and the same engine. And heat soak for a car that's, you know, just a little tiny town car, they weren't designed for this. They weren't built with this in mind, but my God, I mean, the person who discovered that as an idea needs an absolute handshake, because it's created arguably one of the most enjoyable, affordable and entertaining forms of motorsport out there. It's brilliant stuff to watch, and it's even better to take part in as well. And the great thing as well is, if you're seeing this, ladies and gentlemen, you think, I quite fancy having a go at this. You know, you don't need to buy a car. You don't need to buy a race car. There are tons of teams out there that have got plenty of these cars that are built up, ready to go, and you say, yeah, I quite fancy that, and they'll give you a package for the weekend. They take the car there, they give you all the fuel you'll need. You just have to turn up with all your race gear and a race license as well. It's a very affordable way of trying it out. Back to the race lead though, and Ryan Smith and Finlay Brunton not able to streak away as much as I thought they would. Only half a second right now as we see a side-by-side battle. That's going to be Thomas Comer, and I believe, is that Dan Kell that's down the background? No, that's Ross Dunn just ahead of him there. So that is the number one, getting that position back from Thomas Comer there. So great move up the inside there. But again, your battle for the leaders, only half a second right now separating them, and it's just 0.3 of a second between Sam Corson and Mark Nisbet for third and fourth. Letting the car roll off the brakes down through Clarkson. This is the battle, as we said, for 6th and 7th position there. You can see the silver number 1 car of Ross Dunn currently making his way just out in front. Sharing the car with Colin Main this weekend, just ahead of Thomas Comer. Now, I've been asked about Lazou Benet in the number 77. He is still going round on the timing screens. He is shown in 10th position. He's involved in a battle with Henry Gillespie, Henry Gillespie and Paul Winfield. So he's down there in 9th, 10th and 11th place. But we're still watching this battle here then for, as we said, 6th and 7th position. Thomas Comer moves to one side, then the other. As we move back, there we go, there's the number 77. As if by magic, a huge thank you to our production team, who are absolutely on the ball with every single request whatsoever. As you see the 77 of Lazou Benet making a move and a half. If he pulls that off, that is, yeah, take a bow. That was a nice little jink there. Onto the back of Paul Winfield, as they're trying to make their way through here. And again, you know, these cars have got a great job. They can pop the radio on. They can have a little bit of Radio 4 on in the background. Have a nice, peaceful Sunday afternoon. And well, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry for folk watching at home. That's my fault. I drew attention onto the 77 there. What it is he's watching the video on YouTube, and at the time that it cut to him, he's decided that he wanted to have a little bit of moment in the fame there. Well. And I'm not sure that's going to do the best for the aero, as I'm pretty sure that's a front splitter hanging off the tail end of that car. Now, realistically, that makes no difference to the car whatsoever, but as a driver, you're very much scared because you don't know if that's part of a fan belt, if that's something really important that's dragging from underneath the car, when realistically it's just a piece of plastic hanging underneath. Ninja Fish is asking, are they still allowed radios? It's actually part of the regulations they have to have. So the the C1 SMRC regulations were drawn off of the national regulations. So the ones that were done for like the C1s at Silverstone and stuff like that. And their regulations state that you have to have the full front dashboard in. You're allowed to remove some of the air ducts on either side to allow the roll cage to be fitted in, but the full panel has to be in, including the radio, including all of your controls on the front and stuff like that. The only modification you're allowed is if your car didn't have a rev meter as standard, you're allowed to buy the standard rev meter, because it just plugs in and clips on as well. So yeah, you have to have the radio. And in fact, if you go onto YouTube and you watch some of these drivers, they're on boards, you'll actually hear them listening to the commentary from the circuit here on 87.7 while they're racing. It's a bizarre situation. Yeah, bog standard radio, so that's the ones that they've got to have, but no car pit-to-car radio. That's not allowed whatsoever. You're not allowed to form any form of mobile phone or any communications with the pit wall. That's pretty much standard across most of the championships as well. As always, guys, we appreciate all the questions that you've got. So if you have any more, pop them into the chat. Apparently, Lazou Benet is listening to The Weekend while he's driving around. That's what we need to know. That's the important information. We need to know what is on the jukebox for these cars as they make their way rounds. Still watching this battle then with Sam Corson. I mean, this is the widest C1 I think we've ever seen in all time, because Mark Nisbet cannot find any way past this car whatsoever right now. It's just not happening whatsoever. The other thing is that Ryan Smith and Kyle Nisbet, they're not breaking away as much as I thought they would at this point in time. In fact, we still have 13 out of the 14 cars all on the lead lap right now. So, coming up for half an hour, 1/3 race distance. This is awesome. It's a little bit frustrating as well, because for all intents and purposes, the C1s were set up as an entry-level form of racing, but arguably I think we get better racing and better respect and better standards from some of these drivers than some of the other championships that we get out there as well. It's a crazy state of affairs where you've got cars that are literally worth about £5,500, £6,500 as they are. You could buy one of these things pre-built, pre-made for about £6,500 and get out there. And that's sort of what I did. I bought a Peugeot 107 second-hand. Did it all myself, ripped out all of the interior myself, put in the roll cage with the help of some fantastic work at Turner Motorsport. They did a great job, and that's a bit of a move, and that didn't quite work out for the 117 and Martin Nisbet there. I'll come back to my story in a little bit, but Martin Nisbet fired it up the inside there. Sam Corson, I mean, he is he deserves a medal after all of this top drawer defensive work at the end of the day here. And again, you can hear the silences as I get a little bit distracted by our YouTube chat going on. Ninja Fish saying that we need to get these cars on a hill climb somewhere, either that or East Fortune if the bikers don't get in the way. That is come on now, come on. Actually, these things would be an amazing match for 125s. Little, well, maybe mopeds actually would be more the pace of this, but either way, again, it goes back to, again, from my personal experience here, it doesn't matter. You don't notice it. You don't notice that you're not doing, 90 miles an hour, 110 miles an hour coming down the start-finish straight here, as we see the 460 of John Proctor just, please leave me alone. I'm just here doing my own thing. Just don't hit me to Sam Corson and to Mark Nisbet here. But great job for them going side by side, getting past that car in front. But it's still Ryan Smith from Kyle Nisbet. It's the 13 leading the 17 by 1.2 seconds ahead of this battle here. Martin Nisbet just fighting and trying to catch on to the tail end of Sam Corson. 1/10 of a second, ladies and gentlemen. Half an hour into a race, 1/10 of a second is all that splits them up as we go further back. This is Henry Gillespie on the front of Dan Kell. Wow, that is looking mega close as well. And again, going back to the point I was saying about you don't notice and you don't care, is the fact that when you've got a car in front of you, that's all you see. You don't see that it's a Fiesta ST. You don't see that it's a Mini Cooper. You see that it's a car in front of you, and this primeval instinct that says, I need to get past. I need to get past this driver as quickly as I possibly can, kicks in, and that takes over. Quite often, actually, drivers have to try and suppress that. And yeah, good stuff to see. But the 88 there of Henry Gillespie doing a fantastic job of keeping that 529 at bay, and then you're also seeing the 822 of Paul Winfield. Now, this is a perfect time to talk about pit stops, because we are going to be into the pit stop window very shortly. Drivers can take the pit stop window, if I remember, now I was told this pre-race and I've completely forgotten it, I believe it's they can take pit stops anywhere between half an hour and 60 minutes into the race itself. So we're into that point just now, so it's the pit stops are going to be, I would imagine, again, it's going to be a fixed time that is on the pit stop. That would allow equality for all of the drivers, and that would allow everyone to have a fair shot at going into pit lane to do their driver changes. If they are doing driver changes, there might be to do some refueling. They might need to pop some more, just a little bit TLC, clean the windows a little bit. But either way, they've got a couple of minutes into pit lane. Now, I'm hearing little pitter-patters on our camera down at McIntyre's, but fantastic camera work here to catch that battle, as that's going to be wide again from Martin Nisbet there on the exit there. Sam Corson doing a blinding job of holding on to that P3. He is fighting tooth and nail for this position, and rightfully so. I mean, this is a coveted affair for these C1 drivers, their first ever endurance race, and I remember the excitement that was not just across the drivers but on the spectators as well, as the SMRC announced that this was something that they were going to be doing. So what I've realised is what I was thinking was pitter-patter of rain on the camera is actually the gusts of wind here at Knockhill. Right, Sam Corson versus Mark Nisbet, attempt number 648. Can Mark Nisbet actually make his way round this car in front? I think he's way too far back to even think about it. And again, he has to think better. Sam Corson goes a little bit deep into the corner, but at which point he's got a good gap out there anyway. And are my eyes deceiving me, or is that an incredibly tight shot, or is that 17 actually getting caught back up by this third and fourth position here? It looked like that was, it is, that gap's come down quite significantly. So what's happened to Kyle Nisbet? Now we know that Kyle has been no stranger to the gravel and to the grass on the outside there, but that gap was 4 seconds last lap round there, and that definitely doesn't look like 4 seconds there. Side by side across the line, and this is two of the cars that are going to be next up to get lapped. I think that is going to be Lazou Benet, and that might be Rich Flets that are just coming across it, or is that Dan Kell and Paul Winfield? We'll double check just now. But the car's coming under the Beatson Building Supply Bridge just now. In fact, there is I'm pretty sure that's Luzubine just going to the left hand side there. In fact, no, it's not, because of course that's Ross Dunn and Thomas Comer. That is one of the other cars that's a little bit further down, isn't that John Proctor? I think it is actually just coming across the line into the hairpin just now. So this is the battle, as we said, for 6th and 7th position. Ross Dunn will be enjoying this day out here. I think he'll be quite happy if Thomas Comer is to give him a little bit of space here. He would quite fancy getting his way further up the field here. But as we said, 35 minutes now clocked off here. So this is really a new world for a lot of these drivers here, because this is, far and away, this is the most that they've driven at this circuit here in terms of in a solid race pace stint. Because what we've seen is, 15 minutes tends to be what they would normally do for these races. Now, I'm just looking at the gap to our leader in second place. Now, that's up to nearly 4 seconds. So, if you remember, I was saying that gap was coming down. It's come down by a whole second. That gap to second and third place, Kyle Nisbet in third and Mark Nisbet, that is down to 3 seconds. As we're seeing Sam Corson still desperately trying to hold on to this third position here. I mean, fair play, fighting tooth and nail, and there's the 17 again onto the tail end of a car. I think that's going to be going a lap down here. I think that might have been Ian Wilson. We'll double check with that. But Sam Corson, I mean, his rear view mirrors must be absolutely filled with that 117 machine just now. And indeed, confirmation then. So that is going to be the number 17 going past Aiden Wilson, I believe that is, that goes a lap down then. So there we go. That is, that's a bit of a lock up there. That was the 14 actually. That was Rich Flett that was getting overtaken there. So that's both Aiden Wilson and Rich Flett now going a lap down as well there. Just watching that car coming through, as we can see the 68 of Sam Corson. Now, Martin Nisbet actually dropping away quite significantly on that lap round there. He's not able to hold up to the back end, and that is another wide moment, another unforced error there, you've got to say, from Kyle Nisbet. That car going very wide on the exit of Clark there, running onto that grass. And I tell you what, he's on borrowed time if he keeps doing that, because that car is going to bite in one of these points and send him off into the inside there. But just watching the 68 of Sam Corson there, the Magma fabrication livery on the side of that car. It looks glorious in the sunshine now here. You'd never imagine that we've had a torrid day with the weather here at Knockhill. Never at all. It looks like it's been sunny all the time here. But it definitely hasn't. And look at this. This is a change then, as we've got side by side Sam Corson and Martin Nisbet. Nisbet might actually have the run on Sam Corson. It's going to be late onto the brakes then for Sam. Pulls it into the corner and he gets the job done. Sam holds on to that. But more importantly, look at the 17 in front. That is second place of Kyle Nisbet. Just coming up to the tail end of these two here. We could have a three-way scrap for second place. Fantastic action that we're seeing here on Knockhill for the first SMRC 90-minute endurance race here with the Citroen C1s. And a huge thank you as always to the Scottish Motor Trade Association for their continued support with the C1 Cup and making all of this happen. Tyre squeals here now as the aggression gets ramped up even more, because they want to get past Rich Flett here. They need to get past that car right now. Across the start-finish line then, and that is your race leader. But have a look at this. Sam Corson has got Martin Nisbet in the tow yet again. They get past that car, going another lap down there, the number 14 of Rich Flett. And it's on to the brakes end, and that's late on the brakes. Is that going to be a little touch onto the tail end of Sam Corson? Thankfully not. You can never tell with that camera angle because it's so compressed. You think you see a car that's out of control, and it was out of control to a certain extent, but Martin Nisbet thankfully able to avoid the rear end of Sam Corson there. That allows a little bit of breathing room for our number 17 here, and you can see how much Kyle Nisbet having to fight the steering wheel there. Beautiful camera work there, seeing that car coming cresting over the hill. You could see the amount of steering input that he's having to put in, and tyres are now going to start feeling a little bit unpleasant. This is where the tyres feel a little bit overused, a little bit sticky. And as we said, pit stops now going to be a factor within the next sort of 15 minutes or so of the race here. And I know the cars are silent, but they're not that quiet coming across the line there. As Martin Nisbet has a look to the outside, Sam Corson covers off the middle of the track there, yanks the car in, and they are catching that number 17 hand over fist there as Kyle Nisbet. And I'm telling you, Ryan Smith and Finlay Brunton, they are not streaking away as much as I thought they were going to be able to do so. Still only 5.2 seconds, and I'm telling you right now, that is within the margin of error from a pit stop, and that's a huge bit of air there from the 17. Now this is worrying for Kyle Nisbet because those cars in his rear view mirror are getting bigger and bigger, and the pressure you put yourself under as a driver, you force the car to do things that it's not doing. You overdrive the car and you end up actually going much slower than if you were to be cool, calm and consistent. Unfortunately, it is very difficult being cool, calm and consistent when you're in a big race and you've got cars looming up behind you. So under the Beatson's Building Supply Bridge as we come, can you believe we're close to, ladies and gentlemen, the halfway point in this race? I can't believe it's just flown by so quickly. I thought a 90-minute race was going to be a little bit of a slog. It was going to be a little bit of a dramatic affair to try and get through, but this has been thoroughly enjoyable. More of this, please. More of this type of event. Here we go into the pits then. And that is going to be the number 14 of Rich Flett into the pits. And again, just making sure all of the nuts on the, or all of the bolts on the wheel completely to spec, completely torqued to spec. Rich Flett there, a little bit of a dash timer you can see there. That's one of the few additions we're allowed. And we cut back and, oh my goodness me, Kyle Nisbet, that is wide. Out of Clark, I did say you're only going to be on borrowed time with that one, and Sam Corson takes second place with that one, and this is where it all comes into it. Now you can see here, so it's a mandatory time pit stop, so you can see the colleague on the pit wall there with the phone out. He's got the stopwatch on, and we've got the rather glamorous lollipop man waiting with the car there, holding that car to attention here. Fascinating stuff here. And this is the longest, what feels like 15 minutes in the car for the driver, and away we go then. So the 14 of Rich Flett then gets out of pit lane, and our first scheduled pit stop of the day. And this is awesome. This is another new dynamic that we don't see here with the SMRC. These endurance races where you've got to take pit stops. Strategy comes into it. And this is exactly what I was saying about the fact that these might not be the most expensive cars, they might not be the fastest cars, but my goodness me, they are the best cars in value for money. In the 17, off into the gravel yet again, keeps the foot in. He's going to drop back into 5th place though, but Kyle Nisbet at this point must be absolutely fizzing. The fact that he's gone from humming 2nd place to going into 4th place, it's not gone well. For me, if that was my car and that was me driving it right now, you pull it into the pits at this point. You take a little bit of a breath, you take a little bit of a respite and just try and recover your senses on that one. going to try and stay out those. Sam Corson into second place then, ahead of Kyle Nisbet. So it's Ryan Smith ahead of Sam Corson, Martin Nisbet ahead of Kyle Nisbet. That's your top 4 right now. 5th place for Callum Conway, 6th place for Ross Dunn and Colin Main. Thomas Comer in 7th place, Paul Winfield in 8th, Henry Gillespie in 9th, Dan Kell in 10th position, Lazou Benet in 11th, 12th place for Ian Wilson, and then 13th place for Rich Flett, who we saw into pit lane. John Proctor in 14th as well. So, Lanya Binet asking on the YouTube chat, if a car crashes, does it still go back on the roads? It depends. So if a car crashes and it's able to safely return to the track, then if it goes off, yes, it can rejoin the track. If it goes off and goes into the gravel and needs to be recovered, yes, it can be recovered, and yes, it can still race as long as it doesn't bring out a red flag. That's where it becomes a little bit tricky. If it's a car that brings out a red flag, usually that is done and dusted for that one. Usually they only bring the red flag out for the car that cannot safely be recovered. Into the pit lane then goes the number 13 then. That is 3rd place. That's Ryan Smith and Finlay Brunton that are sharing that car, and with the exceptional height, I'm going to presume that's Finlay Brunton jumping into the car just now. I'm pretty sure that was the site of Michael Weddle, who is pit well, not pit boss, but lollipop man for that team there for Minimax Motorworks. As into the pits as well, then that is Mark Nisbet for their stop. And it looks like some changes, so this is going to be a longer stop than is necessary for this one. And they're taking off the front right tyres. Now that is going to be because of the amount of times that car is going over the gravel there, and you can see, well, actually, to be fair, that tyre's not too bad. A little bit of wear on the inside there, but again, you're going to want to make sure that you're not getting up any punctures when you're going over that gravel. Incredibly easy as these tyres stay up though. And the tyres will get torqued up. Of course, they've got plenty of time to do this because they've got a mandatory time that they have to stay in the pit lane for. You can see down there as well into the pits. That's the 5.29 of Dan Kell jumping into that one there. So Dan Kell sharing that car with James Hitchin just now. And you can see quite a bit of mess on the front right of that car there. Into the pits comes Ross Dunn, and this is another issue as well, because you know this is quite a crowded pit lane here, and it's a set order, and I've got to be honest, first time seeing this with the SMRC. I'm loving this. We need more of this sort of stuff. This just brings a whole new dynamic to the race. You've got the teams all getting involved there. I'm pretty sure I heard one of the chief scrutineers, Rennie, barking out an order there to all of the teams. Of course, safety is a big thing during these pit stops as well, because it's a busy pit lane. You've got a lot of people there trying to work on the car, and I'm having a look at this fascinating shot here from that number 1 team. Having a look underneath, and that's onto the suspension, the rear left suspension is it that they're looking at. It's not the exhaust there, so he's had a look at obviously something that's concerned him about that rear left tyre there. But well, this is interesting to see. So he's going through checking all the tyre pressures as well. The other thing as well that I absolutely love about this is the fact that a lot of the drivers are having to do so much work as well. So if you thought, you know, race car drivers, it's a glamorous lifestyle that all they have to do is just drive the car. I'm sorry, but at club level, no, you're earning your supper for this one. You're getting out, you're getting the tyre pressures checked, and you're making sure that everything is right as it can be for your next driver. This is the bit that gave me the absolute fear. Getting into the car and putting on your seatbelt it's hell for me. I really struggle at it. Your boy is eating way too many pork pies in his day, and it's a difficult task. And it's a godsend when you've got a teammate that can come in and actually do your seatbelts up for you, because it's a bit difficult. But that is the number 460 of John Proctor into pit lane as well. The number 1 car leaves pit lane, so that is going to be the combination of Ross Dunn and Colin Main back out on the track. And again, this is what I was saying, the fascinating dynamic change now, because we've got cars that have gone into pit lane, we've got overtakes, undertakes, and I'm pretty sure, have I just seen Sam Corson ahead of that Brunton car? I am positive. So that number 13 car has dropped down. I'm a little bit confused by that one. Well, I guess, you know, just picking up where we left off here, the number 17 is straight out there, as we see. So yeah, this is what I was saying about here. So Sam Corson just behind the 117 then of Martin Nisbet. Now, the way I work it out, I think Martin Nisbet is our race leader ahead of Sam Corson, but this is a proper dogfight going on. And if that is the case, that is a monumental change that's just happened there, because our former race leader, Smith and Brunton, they're now down into 8th position. So again, we'll clarify as the timing tower updates itself, but that is absolutely massive if that is what has just happened there. Yep, so as the time screen updates then, it is showing me that Martin Nisbet ahead of Sam Corson for first, seconds and for first and second. Oh, and that's a car into the gravel. That's on the exit of the chicane. That's almost certainly going to be a safety car. That is the number 88. That was your third place runner. That was Henry Gillespie. They hadn't pitted just yet, but that car sideways off into the gravel. That's almost certainly going to be, I would imagine, a yellow flag at the least, because that is a very easy place to send the car. What he's done is he's locked the brakes up, and the car has just snatched away and put him into the gravel. Very lucky to see that car has not rolled because it was sideways into the gravel there. But flashing yellow lights, I'd imagine that's going to be still under double waved yellows, obviously, for there just now. But well, that is high drama, because as we said, Henry Gillespie was running out there. Safety car confirmed then. Oh my me. Well, there we go. What that's done is that's just press the reset button, and that has given us a second 45-minute race today. So let's catch up then with what you guys are saying, and that car is well and truly beached into the gravel there. So firstly, Lanya Benet is asking, do we think that that car is going to go back out onto the road, to number 88? Yes, 100%. It's just beached into the gravel. As long as it's not touched as long as it's not hit the barrier at the side, then it's absolutely fine. Now this is absolutely brilliant to see, because the cars that haven't pitted now, this is a free pit stop for them. This is a brilliant way, especially for cars that are a lap down, able to either get a free pit stop or basically just get themselves back out there. So we see the 822 of Paul Winfield, he's into the pits. We're going to see Lazu Benet, I would imagine we're going to see into the pits as well. We're going to see the 24, that is in Wilson, into the pits as well. So Ninja Fish is saying that he thinks that they should make the drivers change the tyres by themselves. The thing is, in realistic terms, it's quite possible to do that. The problem is when you get to larger events like the 24, as we see, and now that's the 117 of Martin Nisbet back into the pits as well, as is Sam Corson. So we've got a proper traffic jam now. This is going to be an issue, because if the 117 tries to get out before Sam Corson, they're not going to be able to do anything, because that car is essentially in the way here. Well, that is just having a look here as to why the 117 has come back into pit lane here. some high drama, and we can see Rennie Thompson looking on here. Maybe just in for a once over, but well, that is a curious sight indeed, because that driver has been in for their pit stop here. That's obviously going to send the 117, and that was the race leader. So that was Mark Nesbitt, and they didn't find anything wrong with the car whatsoever. And away they go then. So, well, that is very curious stuff to see. Now, what will happen is they'll be allowed to catch up to the end there. So, for Lanya Vinay that was asking about whether or not that car will be able to get going again, like I said, the answer should be yes, they should be able to attach that car on and basically just pull it out of the gravel there. It'll then be, once it's out of the gravel, it'll be free to go out on its own way. So there we go. Let's see what else we're chatting about today. Right, it looks like we're all caught up. So as always, guys, if you've got any questions on the YouTube chat, 'cause we've got loads of time today. We've got a 90-minute race, 55 minutes of which has already gone. Goodness me. Time flies when you're having fun, and that is exactly what we're having here today for this SMRC C1 Cup race here, the endurance race, the 90-minute race powered by the Scottish Motor Trade Association. A huge thank you to them for their continued support, not just this year but throughout the past couple of years. It's been absolutely invaluable to the SMRC, especially through some very difficult years. And I'm looking, is that the 13 that's now out in front there? It is. It's sliding that car about there. So it looks like that car should be recovered very shortly, at which point we'll go racing back again. Oh, and great to hear that our very own John Duncan listening in on the live stream as well, saying that he apologising that he's not back here to back us up, but I'm sure that he's probably sunning himself up actually in some lovely foreign country at this point in time. Either that or he is heavily involved. I know the SMRC have got a big show that they are involved in. The Jackie Stewart Classic actually next weekend. They've got a big presence at that. So I do know that Rory Bryant and a lot of the top team are down there having to work very hard getting their side of things all set up. So a very good afternoon to all of them down there, and as usual, we're gutted that they're not here as well, because we always get some great chat from a lot of the championship coordinators. So good to hear that they've got such a vested interest, and I think even John, being the still believe the championship coordinator for the Citroen C1s, he must be absolutely beaming with pride listening to this and watching that. More questions from Lanya, who wants to know if crash does affect the race limit or the number that you're on, for example, number 12th place. Right, so two different questions there. Yes, if you crash and the leader passes you under, like, if it's yellow flags or not, you still lose that lap. So you, like, for instance, this 88 car here will still be about maybe 10-15 laps down by this point if they choose to get on. Now, if they've just gone into the gravel and they're 10 laps down, they might decide, well, actually, we're not going to bother keeping on. However, if they do crash out and we do get lots of laps under the safety car here, it's not going to affect the time that we run. We're not going to get extra time. It's a 90-minute race, so we race to that time, if that makes sense. So whereas in a normal race, if this had happened, we'd get likely laps added onto it, to allow for the time that was lost. So obviously, say it was a 10-lap race and you had 3 laps behind the safety car, you'd have an extra 3 laps added on. And there's confirmation the number 88 makes its way under its own steam there. It's a lengthy recovery because of the amount of gravel, and that thing is not going to be pleasant because that's going to be spitting out, you can see, chunks of gravel, chunks of grass all over the rest of the circuit. So it's going to be fun for the rest of the drivers when they encounter that on their way by. But as it stands at 88, if it wants to carry on, it can. It absolutely can. But I would expect safety car lights are likely going to be off at this time by because of the car being rescued. It looks to have already got itself sorted out. So, yeah, safety car is going to pull away. The recovery trucks will pull out of the way as well. And a huge thank you, as always, to our recovery team. So let's go back to business then, ladies and gentlemen. 2/3 of the race done, dusted, in the books, and already out of the way. We are an hour into our 1 hour 30-minute race here at Knockhill. And oh, wow, wow, wow. Right. As I'm seeing it, let's have a look here. So it's still showing me here as Mark Nisbet being in the lead of the race. Ryan Smith and Finlay Brunton still down in 3rd position. I'll clarify that in just a couple of seconds time because they're actually shown as a lap down as well. So we'll have to figure out now. I wonder if that's because maybe the safety car actually caught the tail end of the group, or yeah, so that's what's happening here. So we're still under safety car, but the cars that are a lap down being sent forward. And there we go. So Mark Nisbet is your race leader. It is going to be Ryan Smith and Finlay Brunton in that 3rd place, but they were caught a lap back, basically. So they've been allowed to essentially get a free pit stop out of all this. However, Mark Nisbet is in the lead of this race. Sam Corson in 2nd place. So it's been a brilliant start for Sam into the 2nd part of the race right now. 3rd place is the number 13 of Ryan Smith and Finlay Brunton. Callum Conway in 4th position. Thomas Comer in 5th in the 23. Paul Winfields in the 222 in 6th position. Dan Kell and the 529 car in 7th position. Lazou Benet into 8th position. Kyle Nisbet in 9th. Ross Dunn and Colin Main in 10th. Rich Flett in 11th place there. And Aidan Wilson into 12th position, and John Proctor into 13th. As we said, the number 88 of Henry Gillespie, several laps down now, showing us 5 laps behind the leader. But that is the cars catching on to the back of the safety car now. And I would imagine we're only going to have 1 more lap left under safety car conditions here. So the cars still having to work quite hard to catch up with the Honda Civic safety car here at Knockhill Racing Circuit, as we've only got 28 minutes left to go in this race. So this is now what these guys and girls are going to be accustomed to. This is going to be a full-on dash for the cash. And the thing is that all bets are off now, because we've had the idea, oh, it's going to be a 90-minute endurance race. It's going to be a test of the driver's ability. Well, they've done that. They've done the pit stop. They've done the hardest part. They've done the best part of an hour now. 30 minutes, that is absolutely no skin off the nose of these drivers here. And it is just going to be straight up pushing for the end here. Just seeing the tail ends of these cars here, and safety car lights still on, so we're going to get another lap here, because the cars are having to try and catch their way up here. And yeah, there's no way that those cars are going to catch up in time here. So we're going to have 1 more lap of the safety car, and that will take us, I would imagine, to 25 minutes left to go in the race. cars making their way around then, and unless my eyes, the lights are still on that safety car. In fact, they've just gone off just now. The safety car peeling away then. And we are getting ready to go racing again. The excitement level builds yet again. And there we go, the safety car peels away, and this is the thing, this is a huge issue for those cars caught further back because they don't have the acceleration ability to catch on to the back of that train. They should have been a little bit more prepared for this, and we're seeing some big gaps opening up already. But as it stands at the front of the field, 25 minutes left to go in this 90-minute race, and Martin Nisbet is going to lead ahead of Sam Corson. They come up over the hill under the Beatson's Build Supply Bridge. The green flag waves, and we go racing once again here at Knockhill. And that is a 6-car fight for the lead of the race. Look at Thomas Gomer side by side with Paul Winfield as well. And that is a huge moment under braking. Sam Carson takes the lead of the race. High drama, 25 minutes left to go. But you get the feeling this is borrowed time. Have a look at that car behind. And if that is Finlay Brunton in that car, oh my goodness me, there are going to be some fireworks going on right now. And in fact, that is 2 positions lost for our former race leader, Martin Nisbet, down into 3rd position right now. The car's making a way down through Clarkston, and that number 13 is stalking its prey so very worryingly, and that surely is going to be a look up the inside for Martin Nisbet. Saner heads prevail there, who would have thought it? But we've now got 4 cars in the fight for this lead then, as we've got what is more akin to normal race length for these Citroen C1s here. And Mr. Ninja Fish here, wondering why you can't hear too much of the cars. So what you need to do is you need to pop yourself down to Knockhill, because you really can't hear that much of the cars anyway. There is very little engine noise actually comes off of these cars for themselves, and that is going to be up the inside there. Have a look for the number 1 as well, but Sam Corson under huge pressure there. So Ross Dunn there is already up into, well, he's already a lap down, so we can ignore that little battle there. He made a move on Callum Conway, but as I said, that is not for position right now. So with just over 20 minutes left to go in this race then, all the pressure in the world is on the shoulders of young Sam Corson ahead of Ryan Smith and Finlay Brunton. That number 13 car sends it over the curbs of the chicane there. You can see almost drifting the car around, power sliding that car around the corners here, and it looks dramatic, it looks wonderful, but it's questionable about whether or not you actually gain any extra speed from being able to drive the car like that. Some would say yeah. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I think that you do lose an awful lot of momentum, and that certainly would be suggested with the fact that Martin Nisbet now onto the tail of our 2nd place car here. Sam Corson getting a tiny little bit of breathing room, as that's going to be a move up the inside. Is that going to be a move for the lead? Late under the brakes, you can see the car squirreling under braking there. Very late. Great job done from the number 13, but can Sam Corson get the cutback? They're going to be side by side coming down the back straight here. This is fascinating stuff. Who would have thought this is a 90-minute race? You thought this is a 10-lap race that we've got going on here. Sam Corson could have the inside line for Clarks. Can he get that car pulled in? He does. Sam Corson regains the lead of this race after a very brief change of the lead there for Finlay Brunton and Ryan Smith. Amazing action that we've got going on here. This is everything I thought it was going to be and more. Brilliant stuff there. Lanya asking if we're going to be interviewing the drivers after the race. We will be going and having a chat with our top 3. And I get the feeling I know, Lanya, why you're asking that question. Anyway, back to the race itself. But this is just, I honestly cannot take my eyes off what is going on right now on the track here. Fascinating battle right now. Sam Corson is literally having to fight the world right now to hold on to this top position, as we can see that shared number 13 car in 2nd place there, having to do everything they possibly can. They're honestly wanting to try and throw the kitchen sink at Sam Corson at this point, but it's to no avail. The problem is they've got that 117 of Martin Nisbet, and if Martin Nisbet fancies getting himself involved on this one as well, then all bets are off, I'm afraid, ladies and gentlemen, on that one, as we've got now just 20 minutes left to go in this race. We can see now already a little bit of daylight, a little bit of hope for Sam Corson as that number 13 getting dragged back into the clutches of the 117. I wonder if it's maybe pushed a little bit too hard on this opening stint of the restart here, because it's now looking closer as that's going to be off into the gravel there. That is the number 77. Oh, Lanya, I'm so sorry you had to see that, but to be fair, it's resting on top of the gravel. There's your answer to your question. Can a car, if it goes off, rejoin the track? Well, I'm afraid your brother has just answered that one for you. Right, so thankfully didn't look like it was too much of a hit there, plus these C1s are fairly rock steady anyway. Back to the leads of the race here. And again, Sam Corson now, he's in a really good position because now that 13 is having to defend like crazy from the car in third place. Martin Nisbet fancies having a go at this right now. And they're almost, nose to tail coming out of the corner at Clark's here. So just thrilling action that we've got going on right now. And down through the compression at Butchers. Again, it feels so weird saying down through Butchers because, coming from the traditional clockwise way, of course, that's the lead up to the hill to the chicane there. But Sam Corson getting caught a little bit there by Ryan Smith and Finlay Brunton in that shared number 13 car. But yet again, have a look at Martin Nisbet tucked in the tail end of that car in front, and we are nose to tail. You would never tell that we've only got 18 minutes left to go in a 90-minute race. That forces the number 13 out wide. We're almost 3 abreast going into the hairpin. Late on the brakes for Sam Corson. The car squeals under braking, but he gets it going again. Great defensive driving there from Sam Corson. He holds on to this lead, and I have got absolutely no idea where this is going to go. I've got no idea who is going to take the race win on this one. All I know is I want more of this. I am desperate to see more of this endurance type racing here at Knockhill. Absolutely brilliant stuff here, and I can imagine that every single one of these drivers involved is going to leave and have a chat with Ant with the biggest smile on their faces after what has been an exemplary drive from all of these drivers here. 17 minutes left to go in a 90-minute race here. Sam Corson leads the number 13 from Mark Nisbet, from Callum Conway in 4th, Thomas Comer in 5th, Paul Winfield in 6th position. The 529 is in 7th. Then it is Kyle Nisbet down in 8th position. Here we go again under the Beatson's Build and Supply Bridge. Can Mark Nisbet make this work right now? He's got the draft, he's got the toe. Again, Sam Corson looking much more comfortable. That's going to be a move to the outside again. Sam Corson forces him wide. Late on the brakes again, but again Sam Corson has the measure. But has he made that 13 vulnerable to Martin Nisbet in that 117? That's going to be the key question here, because it looked like Martin Nisbet got a brilliant run. Look at that, right onto the boot lids here. Side by side, and this is thrilling action. The 13 under all sorts of pressure, and this could be it. That could be side by side. It's the moment for Mark Nisbet. Is he going to get the run through the chicane? He's got it done. Mark Nisbet up into P2, and that sends the 13 down into 3rd position. And what that also means is that Sam Corson now still in the lead of this race by about a second, because these two are going to fight tooth and nail. They're going to slow each other up, and Sam Corson will be delighted with this in the cockpit of that car right now. Oh wow, you could not have scripted any of this whatsoever. But hold on to your hats, because we're not finished there. Not only is the 13 being dispatched with, but the 117 of Martin Nisbet going to try and outbrake Sam Corson round the outside of the first corner there. And it looks like Martin Nisbet actually wants to take this race win. He's not done. He's not happy. I'm not sure what that was, trying to go around the outside, surely, at Clark Corner. You can tell the heat soak's starting to sink in, because that car's almost driven round the outside of him, forces him onto the outside at a braking point there, has to let off, and wow, this is starting to get a little bit sketchy. I'm getting a little bit worried. That's Martin Nisbet up the inside into the chicane, and that is going to be another change of the leads. Mark Nisbet retakes the lead change with just 15 minutes left to go. The 13 of Finlay Brunton and Ryan Smith, they're going to be wanting to get past this car as quickly as they possibly can. But my goodness me, how much drama have we had in the past 3.5 minutes there? In the past 2 laps, we've had 2 lead changes, and goodness knows what else. And Sam Corson fancies it again. That was a poor exit for Mark Nisbet. They're going to be side by side. Look at this. They're going to be late onto the brakes into turn 1. Has Sam Corson done it? He has. Oh, there's contact on the braking. That's going to be a moment. He's going to roll the car back. What a recovery. Almost from Sam Corson. Gets it going. Wow, that was intense to say the least. So glad that no other cars were involved there. But Sam Corson leaving with minimal damage out of that one. He'll be all the way back down in 4th position, but that could have been a hell of a lot worse for Sam Corson there. Oh my goodness me. The 117 then sent back into 3rd position. That now hands the leads of the race to the number 13 then of Mark Smith and Finlay Brunton. And I'm wondering if they have... Now, 2 things here. One is that I think they're overdriving this car massively right now. 2, they don't realise that that number 1 car behind them of Ross Dunn isn't for position. You can tell from the way they're driving, they're overly aggressively driving that car. They don't realise that that number 1 car isn't for position here. That's a lapped car of Ross Dunn. I get the horrible feeling that 68 might be done. That 68 of Sam Corson might be having to retire from the race. We'll keep an eye on that. But that would be absolute heartbreak if it is. And the number 1 of Ross Dunn moves to the side. He wants no further part in this. But wow, I mean, how much more drama can we possibly squeeze into the next 30 minutes? I guess we're about to find out live here on the SMRC live stream. Oh, and a huge moment for Ross Dunn there. He caught the tail end on the braking zone there. Sam Corson, he is absolutely rated. I don't know if you guys saw that at home, but all I saw from Sam Corson was a shake of the fist inside the cockpit. He is absolutely having none of this. Yeah, don't be surprised to see that car driving like a man possessed right now. But the number 13 ahead of the number 110 of Callum Conway, and Callum Conway still onto the back end of that number 13. Heat soak, again, is becoming such an issue here. And again, this is something these cars have never had to prepare for. So what heat soak is obviously, as the car gets hotter, the engine has less cool air available to put into the engine, and therefore it runs at a slightly lower performance than it normally would. Now, in real terms, it has a negligible effect when, say, you're driving on the motorway or things like that. But when you're in a race car, if you lose, say, 2, 3, 4 horsepower through heat soak, on a car that's only got 68 horsepower to begin with, you're sure you're going to notice it very, very quickly. And weirdly, one thing that I found worked is actually if you put the heaters up full in the cockpit on full heat, it actually dissipates some of the heat from the engine bay. Really bizarre, but it did seem to work. So Sam Corson, yeah, he is not taking any prisoners right now. He wants to get back into the podium. Tell you what, if Sam Corson gets himself on the podium, that will be one of the strongest recovery drives I think we've seen this season from the C1 drivers. But we are just over 10 minutes left to go in this 90-minute race. And again, I mean, I was coming into this thinking a 90-minute C1 endurance race. What are we going to be having in store for us here? But yeah, absolutely loving it. I think they've definitely proved that there is an appetite for this type of racing up here in Scotland for sure. But nonetheless, Ryan Smith and Finlay Brunton in that number 13, having to fight on as much as they possibly can to hold on to that lead, because have a look at Callum Conway and Mark Nisbet. They are now very, very close. You'd never say that this was an endurance race. As I said, this looks more like a sort of 10-lap sprint race right now, and I don't know why. I can't explain why that 13 is being caught as quickly as he is, but he is getting caught by Callum Conway and by Mark Nisbet. The question is, are they going to have enough to catch that up and make a move right now? I would say, yeah. I would say within 2 laps or so, because I'm looking at the lap times here. The lap times don't make any sense because they don't explain why that 13 is getting caught up there. That last lap from the 13 was a 111.184. Callum Conway was 0.4 of a second slower than the car in front. In fact, no, I've just realised, sorry, I was looking at the best time, not the last time there. It was a 111.6 for Ryan Smith, and it was a 111.7 for Callum Conway. Fastest man on the track, personal best. Anybody want to guess any? Sam Corson in the 68 in 4th place. 0.5 of a second faster than the 3 cars in front of him. Sam Corson, ladies and gentlemen, is on a charge, but he is 3.7 seconds behind your race leader. Now, given that we are lapping about 1 minute and 10 seconds, are we going to have enough time for him to catch up? I don't think so, but my God, is it going to make it entertaining. I think Mr. Corson has some scores to settle, and I'm sure that he's the consummate professional racing driver, but there might be some afters. That's all I'm going to say on that one. He's going to feel very much aggrieved that contact took him out of that race. However, let's have a look at what is going to happen here. I'm not a fan of this. Sam Corson fighting with Ross Dunn, and Ross Dunn is a lap down. So Ross Dunn really shouldn't be fighting for that position, because he's wrongly showing here, for me anyway, as still being on the lead lap, but he's not. So let's see how this one pans out then, as we go into under 10 minutes left to go. 8 minutes 45. And there we go with our race leader and top 3 coming through. There is Sam Corson. Now he's got a clear track. He can just charge his way. And again, fastest lap for Sam Corson. Fastest lap of the race. Oh my God, that was a car going airborne. That was Callum Conway taking the C1 Airways across the chicane there. That was a move and a half. I think that's what they call an artistic interpretation of track limits. Fastest lap of the race, last lap, Sam Corson, not just of the drivers, of the entire 63 laps we've done here, 111.126. Sam Corson, ladies and gentlemen, is not out of this by any stretch of the imagination. 8 minutes left to go, and that 13 of Ryan Smith and Finlay Brunton looks very, very, very vulnerable right now. Callum Conway in a fight with it, Martin Nisbet in a fight with it, and 4th place Sam Corson right on the tail end. I tell you what, like I say, you could not script this. You could not write this for a better finish for an endurance race. But have a look around the outside. That's surely going to be late onto the brakes there for 3rd place of Martin Nisbet, trying to get that position done. But we're going to focus, rightfully so, on Sam Corson here. He is pushing hard and he is charging hard. Yet again, faster than everyone else on the circuit. 2/10 faster than Martin Nisbet, 3/10 faster than Callum Conway, 5/10 faster than your race leader, Ryan Smith and Finlay Brunton. The lad is on an absolute charge right now with just 7 minutes left to go here. I mean, I'm kind of worried to see what is going to happen with this, but yeah, this is awesome stuff. Anyway, outside the top 4, Thomas Comer in 5th position, Paul Winfield in 6th, Dan Kell in 7th position. As we see a move up in for 2nd place, is that going to be Martin Nisbet trying to make a move there? No, he thinks better of it, just keeps to the inside there. But that now means Sam Corson right with him. And this is going to be surely a move for 3rd position. The first, you think, of many. Sam Corson, another fastest lap, 110.9. 8/10 faster than 3rd place Martin Nisbet. It's a second faster than the 2 cars in the leads. Oh my goodness me. Sam Corson takes 3rd position. So Sam Corson on the recovery drive takes the podium. Next target is going to be Callum Conway. Oh my goodness me. Again, as a commentator, we're supposed to be completely detached, completely impartial. Every single fibre of me as a racing fan is wanting Sam to catch right back up to that leading 2. Oh my goodness me, what a storyline this is here for the Scottish C1 Enduro in association with Scottish Motor Trade Association and Reese Motorsport Insurance here sponsoring race day for the SMRC. Oh my days, this has been one of the most glorious days for C1 racing here in Scotland. It really has been a beacon for what this championship represents and what it has to offer here. But it's still the number 13 out in front by just half a second. Sam Corson there, that last lap round was a 1:11.8. And he is now just 2 seconds off of the race lead right now. That number 13 ahead of Callum Conway, who we didn't even realise was going to be a contender for a podium position right now. But Sam Corson still breathing right down the neck with just 5 minutes left to go in this race. They're like little pogo sticks coming down the hill over through the chicane. But Sam Corson, I mean, he is just driving possessed right now. He is pushing so hard with this car, already almost onto the back. I don't think a win is going to be happening for Sam today. I'm not putting it out of the question. I mean, nothing's out of the question. Sam should have been into a wall on the entry into turn 1 there. That's what should have happened after that contact there. It was looking so close there. Sam Corson though comes across the line 1:11.3, half a second faster than Callum Conway in second position. This is going to be an intense 3 laps left to go in the race. We've got 4 minutes left to go in the race here, and I just do not know where left to look here. Fascinating stuff. Ryan Smith and Finlay Brunton still in the lead of the race. We cut back a little bit further back. That is going to be, I think, the 822 and 529 of Paul Winfield and Dan Kell. But here we go, Sam Corson right on the tail end of your second place car here. Callum Conway, your number is up, my friend. Do you dare? Are you kidding me? Sam Corson just power slid the car around the outside, as you would on the entry into McIntyre's. I'm sorry, that is absolutely outrageous. We need to take a second here just to appreciate what we've just seen. That is a Citroen C1 power sliding on the inside of a corner to take a position. Sam Corson, ladies and gentlemen, second position. Now here we go. Can we get down into the lead of the race here? Goodness me. Right, let's take you through the rest of the field then. As we said, Martin Nisbet down in 4th position, Thomas Comer in 5th, Paul Winfield in 6th position, Dan Kell in the 529 in 7th position, Kyle Nisbet in 8th, Lazu Benet in 9th, Ross Dunn in 10th, Rich Flett in 11th position, Ian Wilson in 12th, 13th position for John Proctor right now in that 460, and the 88 of Henry Gillespie has retired indeed from this race. So it looks like just 2 laps left to go here. We've got 2 minutes left in the race, and we'll wait to see when that last lap board is going to get held out. I would imagine it's going to be held out in well, I would imagine next time round, but we'll certainly see, because it could be the 90 minutes plus 1. But as we said, we'll wait with bated breath. We've got a little bit of action further down there. That's side by side. I believe that is Paul Winfield and Dan Kell again coming across the line just now. Indeed it is. So great little fight going on for 6th and 7th position. And it looks like it's going to be on the inside of the corner there for Paul Winfield, as we cut back to the leader with just 1 minute and 20 left to go. And of course, we don't get updates about who is actually in the car just now. So a huge thank you to Matt Ratcliffe for pointing out that it's actually James Hitchin that's driving the 529 at the moment, taking over from Dan Kell just now. So a huge thank you for that one. But the car's coming up across the line then, and I think we're going to get yet another lap after this. We've got 50 seconds left to go. And a last lap board held out then, so this looks like it's going to be the last lap then of the race here. Ryan Smith just ahead of Sam Corson. And again, making no apologies for focusing on this incredible recovery drive from Sam Corson, who was at one point leading the race for what felt like an eternity. A little bit of contact on the entry into turn 1 sent him down into 5th position, and he's worked faultlessly. It's so hard to try and recover this drive here, and we've got no idea where this pace has come from. It's like an absolute man-possessed right now, and again, it's just a case of seeing exactly how this all pans out. But down into McIntyre's for the final time of asking for these cars then. It's been an amazing race. We've enjoyed every single second. We hope you've enjoyed it as well at home. A highlight of the day, but it's going to be out the final corner then for Ryan Smith and Finlay Brunton in that number 13 car. It's going to be an exemplary race. Checker flag comes out. Race win for our first ever enduro race here for the C1s. Second place for Sam Corson in the 68. Third place is going to be Callum Conway in the 110. Now, I'm going to hold that second thought for just a second, because Sam Corson has immediately dropped down in the race order, and that usually means one of two things. That usually means that he's had a time penalty applied onto him. So we'll double check what that is, but certainly as he crossed the line, he instantly dropped down the order there. So again, we'll have to check what the final official standings of that were, but a stunning end to a 90-minute endurance race there. Huge congratulations to all of the drivers then. Let's take you right through the order then. Outside the top 3, Thomas Comer finishes in 4th position, Dan Kell and James Hitchin in 5th position in the 529. Paul Winfield in 6th position. Kyle Nisbet in 7th. Sam Corson showing down in 8th position. We'll confirm that as soon as we can. Lazou Benet is showing in 9th. Ross Dunn and Colin Main in 10th position. Rich Flett in 11th. Ian Wilson in 12th position. And then John Proctor finishing out in 13th position. Henry Gillespie finishing in 14th. But my, oh my, what a brilliant race we had here. Really enjoyed that feature. As I said, I hope you all enjoyed that at home there, because yeah, it was an absolute ball. Like I said, as somebody who's been pestering all of the drivers and all of the organisers to get an endurance race up here, that was everything I thought it would be, and oh, so much more. Wasn't expecting all of that drama with the top 4 there. And again, we'll have to clarify exactly what the order is, because on my timing screen that just updated as Sam came across the line there, Ryan Smith in the 13 and Finlay Brunton shown as race winners, obviously, but Callum Conway and Mark Nisbet shown as 2nd and 3rd place. So hopefully we'll get some clarification on that for you very, very soon indeed. But wow, I mean, where do we go with that? Rightfully so to see the drivers getting a big round of applause as they head into pit lane there.
Thank you very much, Dave. When somebody told me about a 90-minute C1 race, I wasn't sold, but my God, that was epic. And the winner, Finlay Brunton, that was something else, wasn't it?
Wow. Ryan had the easy part. I thought Ryan done the hard part. And then I got in the car and it seemed to get a lot harder. But chuffed, absolutely brilliant. Good racing. I enjoyed the racing. Really clean, really fun. And definitely, opened my eyes a bit that maybe I'm not as fit as what I once was.
Well, you're shattered now. We're a bit concerned about people running out of fuel. Was that the case for you?
No, we only maybe used 3 bars. So we went out with a full tank and it ran really light. And I don't run any ballast, so we decided to put Ryan in first when the car's heavy with fuel to keep it legal, and obviously that'd be the quickest way around of doing it as well. And then I get in the car heavier when the car's lighter with fuel, for the kind of best average weight, as light as possible and as legal as possible.
Attention to the battle behind you.
Yes, yes.
He was getting closer and closer, wasn't he?
Yeah. I was kind of in 2 minds whether to. So towards the end there, I was kind of fighting with Conway. I think I was suffering a bit up the straights because I had a heavy fuel load still on there, and I was in two minds whether to just keep on going as fast as I could to try and gap him, or to maybe actually just slow up and try and back him into the car in third place. But I think luckily Mark managed to catch up there, and they started having a wee scrap of themselves by themselves, and then Sam Corson appeared back out of nowhere in my mirrors as well. So yeah, it was a good place to watch from, but I was glad that it was from a distance.
Right, well done, congratulations. You got a win on the first endurance race of the C1. Go and enjoy it.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Finlay. I'm looking for some other drivers. I think they're over there still. Oh, one's coming. I'll wait here for him. Oh, they're both coming actually. So we'll get a word with our top three. They come running down. Wind's picking up now. So, Mark Nesbitt.
How are you doing?
I'm all right, Mark. How are you after all that?
That was brilliant. That was a really good race. I wasn't too sure how far back in the pack I was until the safety car decided to let all the back markers pass, and then before you know it, I was right at the back of the safety car. So, first time starting behind the safety car.
Carson came out of nowhere as well, didn't he?
What was that?
Carson came out of nowhere.
Carson. Corson.
Corson, yeah.
Aye, from the start, the restart.
Yes. Sorry, the minute's about to go out. I can't hear anything down here. But anyway, congratulations on the podium.
Thanks for that.
Brilliant. Mr. Conway, how was that for you?
That was really good. I enjoyed that. It's the first endurance race I've done since the British 24 Hour at Teesside. So it was a bit different, but it was good.
So what's it like driving a C1 for a whole 90 minutes? How are the arms?
They're fine. It just gets really hot inside. So I mean, the window was down during the safety car, and it got a bit chilly after that. But the sheer pressure of everybody in front and behind kept you sweating.
And that last half an hour, that was something else, wasn't it?
Yeah, it really was. I wasn't sure who was behind or who was in front, because before the safety car came out, the micro machine was behind me by about 10 car lengths, and then after the safety car was in front of me, so I was a bit like, who's who? I got the photo pit board that said fourth, but there was 5 cars in front, so I wasn't sure what was going on. I just thought I'll pit my way through. See
it was actually about marker. It was car number 1 done.
Yeah, no, I wasn't actually sure, so I thought I'll just pit my way through, see how far up I can get. And then obviously Sam got past near the end there, but I seen his stop through penalty on the gantry when I was coming past in the last lap, so that gave me a bit of relief.
Yeah. Well, you come away on the podium, so congratulations. Go and enjoy it.
Thank you very much.